What's up,
Yeah.
everybody? We back again live on Instagram, Shop Talk Live. Today we got Clinton Portis, NFL running back for the Washington Redskins and the Denver Broncos. Let me see, he's joining in right now.
CP, what's up, Bubba?
Man, I'm coolin', man. What's good?
Thank you for coming on, man. I kind of do this, while we're in this quarantine, just to kind of, let some of my friends and family and other clients get to know some of my celebrity clients, and with you being one of them, again, I appreciate you for getting on here with me for a few minutes. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't usually like to do a lot of, too much of homework and looking up your story. I just kind of like to ask the questions, as I think of them and everything. But first thing I wanted to ask you about was, first of all, how long did you play in the NFL?
Man, I played 9 years, 2 in Denver, 7 in DC.
Okay, just those two teams?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to go back to high school, to like your high school recruitment and, and where you're from. What was that like? Where you from?
Now, I'm originally from Laurel, Mississippi. I moved out of Mississippi to Gainesville, Florida. So I grew up in Gainesville. I moved away going to the 7th grade. So the summer going to the 7th grade, we moved to Gainesville, Florida, College Town. University of Florida was right up the street.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's kind of where my sports took off. I think as a young kid in Mississippi, I knew I had talent, but the competition and everything kind of kicked in going into high school in Gainesville because from my neighborhood, everybody knew me. But when you relocate at the bottom of the totem pole, in PE,
Start all over.
if I ain't the first pick, I'm sitting here looking like, man, y'all just tried me. So,
y'all just don't know.
Yeah, you got to make a name for yourself, and everybody feel like people in Florida fast and this and that. And I'm like, dog, bro, I'm from Mississippi. I can run, So you racing, you just competing to prove yourself everywhere you go. So it kind of just got real competitive. My crew, my homeboys to this day, my best friends, we kind of just took off together. Everybody met in high school, and we kind of just blossomed together, and everybody took off.
Did you run track in high school too?
Yeah, man. Come on. I was part of one of the fastest 4x1s in the history. We ran 40-point in high school. You know who beat us? Team from Texas, OD Wyatt. And all them boys end up going to TCU.
Texas, baby. Texas, baby.
Yeah.
What y'all know about the Texas boys?
OD Wyatt beat us at Baytap down in Tampa when I was in high school. We ran 40-point. And I remember that coach walking up to, he was like, man, hold on. Let me get this right. I've been following y'all, seeing y'all times, and y'all ran 40-point. So we we ran 40-point. He was like, but y'all play football and don't just run track? We nah, we football players. We just running track to be doing it. And he was like, man, that's unbelievable because I won't let my kids play football. It's strictly track for us. And, 2 or 3 years later, I saw 2 or either 3 of those kids from OD Wyatt that broke our record in '99, which we ran 40-point in high school. I seen 2 of those kids, definitely 2, at what's the big track meet in Philly? Penn Relays. I seen 2 of those kids at Penn Relays. And they was getting ready to run against our Olympic team. They had on shirts that say, we're not running fast, we're flying low. And I remember telling everybody, them the dudes that kicked our ass in high school, that's him. So, yeah, that was crazy.
That's cool. So you played running back in high school. Did you play varsity all 4 years or 3 years or what?
Like I said, my freshman year, getting that opportunity to make a name for yourself. I remember going out for freshman making JV. And JV season are 6 or 7 games, and I got moved up to varsity as a freshman. And I had the big head because I'm feeling myself, you know, women starting to check for you, and all of that. And I was ineligible. I had a 1.9 GPA, so I couldn't even play varsity. And, you know, I remember just lying to everybody like, oh, you know, everybody was so hyped, like, oh, man, this freshman on varsity. And I just remember lying to people and making excuses instead of just saying, you know what, dog, I'm ineligible. Like, I got a 1.9, so I couldn't run track and I couldn't play. I couldn't play my freshman year. And everybody kind of like, man, what's going on? You know what I mean? But I was afraid to tell them. And I made a vow. You know, my English teacher jacked me up, Mr. Eddie Moore, jacked me up my sophomore year and was like, you're probably one of the most talented kids I ever seen, but no one is ever going to hear of you because you don't take this serious. And, you know, I think after that, after, you know, a white man identifying your talent and giving you the hope or the belief in you to call you out, you know, he jacked me up, like, got my shirt, got me pinned up, and, you know, you like, man, let me go, you know what I mean? Like, let me go. And it was just this look he had in his eyes, like, you're going to be another
He's trying to give you that message.
Kid. Like, I've seen so much talent come through, and he says, you know, I know you got it, and you could go on and be great, but you're going to hold yourself back. And that happened my sophomore year, and my GPA went from 1.9 to, you know, 3.0. And I mean, the rest is kind of history.
Are you still in touch with that teacher?
I don't think he at my high school anymore. I haven't talked to him in some years, but I used to always go back and see him. So it's probably been since
So you've seen him.
Yeah, but
you've seen him since your
career. You know how the high school had the turnover, so the principal's gone, the teacher's gone, everybody gone. You know, my coaches, everybody gone from the high school. But, you know, we kept in contact probably during my playing career, I definitely kept in contact with him. So probably.
So you were able to thank him for that then.
Oh yeah, always thank him.
Yeah.
You know, always thank him, because it was like one of those life-changing moments of someone. He had to present me to me, you know, and he showed me all of my work. You know, I used to just sit in class, drift off, write poetry in my notebook, and he showed me how my mind cooperated. He said, man, you're bored. He said, this stuff is so easy to you that you're bored. You're not even paying attention. And then you do the work and don't turn it in. So he went back and he showed me, like, you know, I had some zeros, like straight zero.
Yeah.
And he said, look, if you just turn this paper in that you already completed, that's a 66. And he put in 66 in place of a zero just to show me my grade, you know. And he was like, zeros hurt. If you turn in anything and get points for it, then it helps out. And, you know, I just think at that point, my sophomore year in high school, you know, you're going through the little identity thing. You can go the wrong way. You just easy. A girl, you know, some of your homeboys getting into the game, some of your homeboys, right? You know what I mean? And you got to grow. And for me, it was, he pulled me away from the wrong crowd. Well, he taught me how to around the wrong crowd, you know what I mean? Which eventually you outgrow that crowd. So the people that I'm gambling with, shooting dice with, playing tonk with, and, you know, for every break we get, like, bro, look what you playing or you jeopardizing yourself for. And then you end up in a petty fight and you suspend it. You know, like, it was him who gave me that vision to realize, you know what, like, I'm bigger than that. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm gravitating, and it's my crew, my homeboys, my like-minded ball players that want to go to college. You know what I mean? So that's how we link.
That's cool. So talk to me about your recruitment process. Did you always want to go to Miami, or they came and recruited you heavily, or what?
Man, it was crazy because as a kid, you know, growing up in Mississippi, I was an LSU fan and I was a Miami Hurricane fan. And I mean, I'm in Laurel, Mississippi, so Rebel Flag was in Ole Miss, so I definitely didn't want to go there. Mississippi State, you know, I never really seen myself staying in Mississippi, although I did go on a visit to Southern Miss. And I get on my visit to Southern Miss, and everybody like, man, you teasing us. Like, why would you even come?
Why are you even here?
Yeah, like why would you even come here knowing that you're not gonna, come to Southern Miss? So it was just an opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
go back home, which I actually enjoyed my visit to Southern Miss. But everybody, I moved to running back my junior year in high school, and the coach pulled me aside and was like, "You got all this talent." I was playing wide receiver and DB. He's like, "Man, you got all this talent, and you I mean can't no one can guard you on the offensive side of the ball, but you can't catch. You know what I mean?" And he was like, I'm just gonna hand you the ball. Like I'm putting you in the backfield. I'm like, bro, I don't play no running back. I've never played running back before. So my
Oh
junior year,
wow.
which I passed the ACT, I had already passed the ACT my junior year. My GPA was like 2.29, 3.0. And I think I had 900 and something yards rushing. So I'm starting to get letters from Illinois, Indiana, Oklahoma State, these schools because I was already eligible for college. And,
Okay.
everybody that you talk to, like, oh, you gotta make a decision. I'm like, I want to play both ways. I want to play DB and I want to play running back. And they like, that's not realistic, kid, on this level. And we want you to play DB. But at the time, it was Jerome Bettis, Eddie George, Jamal Anderson, Jamal Lewis, all the big backs. And here I am,
Yeah,
like,
that's
bro, I'm
all big.
170. Like,
Yeah.
what in the hell I want to tackle Jerome Bettis for at 170? So I'm like, either
Man,
I'm playing
man, let me
running
stop you
back.
right there. I cut Eddie George. I don't know, probably about a year ago, and and I'm 6'1", 215 now, and I don't know what he is, but I'm like looking at him, I'm like, dude, I would not want to tackle you, man. I would not want to tackle you, and like J. Joe, Jonathan Joseph, a lot of those players here with the Texans, and they smaller than me, and I'm like, and they coming up hitting these boys like this, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
that's a rough sport.
At that time, man, I wanted no parts in tackling Jamal Anderson and
Yeah.
Jamal Lewis coming downhill full speed. So I'm like, look, either I'm playing running. I mean, either I'm playing both ways, or I want to play running back. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the teams that would recruit me wanted me to play DB. I was one of the top DBs. So my senior year, because I only had 900 yards rushing my junior year. So now my senior year come around and I go for 2,000. Now all the teams that weren't interested
2000?
ran back.
Now they want to
I
talk
rushed for
business.
2,000 my senior year, and I was up for Mr. Football in the state of Florida. It was between me and Willie
Mm-hmm.
Green, and it was one of those situations where the winner of this matchup probably gonna win Mr. Florida in football. So I had the better game, but they won the game and went on to win state. So therefore, he won Mr. Football
Mr.
5A
Football.
in the state of Florida. Yeah, so everybody was, jumping on the bandwagon and ready for a visit. But at that time, I was locked in to University of Maryland or University of Miami. And I went on my visit to University of Maryland. I'm like, oh, man, this is crazy. Like the Chesapeake Bay and seeing a pink sky for the first time. And I go on my visit, and I'm telling my mom, like, oh, man, it's crazy, like how dope Maryland is. And she like, oh, them coaches from Miami been calling. And I'm like, oh, I go on Miami. It was over. I committed.
So
I didn't even take all my.
what year did you go to Miami?
Man, come on. The same year that Andre Johnson, the best receiver in the Texans history, came in '99.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I went to Prairie View. I don't know if you heard of Prairie View
Come on,
here
man. I
here
know
in
all
Houston,
about
about
that. I grew
45.
up on Jackson State, Prairie View. Come on, man.
All right, all right. Well, so Armstead, Jesse Armstead's brother went to Prairie View with us. And so that's when I kind of like really got into the Miami Hurricanes, because he was down there yelling Miami Hurricanes all day long. And so, became a big fan then. And so, we got T. Wiley on here, man. He told me to tell you
I
what's
see
up,
it. You
man. You
see,
know
I
Tony
just told
Wiley?
him what's
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, T. Wiley, he the one who got me working with the Texans for the last 16 years that when the Texans got here. But yeah, good people though. So you in Miami, and so your freshman year, y'all. Who are some of the people that you played with?
You said who are some of what?
Some of the players that you played with that were from Miami,
Man, you know
from
what?
the Hurricanes.
My 99 incoming recruiting class, Philip Buchanan, who was on the Texans,
I
Andre
used to cut. I
Johnson,
used to cut
that was
Philip,
on the Texans,
Andre.
Vince Wilford, that was on the Texans,
Yeah, yeah.
Bryant McKinney, Jeremy Shockey, Ken Dorsey, myself. Who else did we have come in? That was enough. And I'm missing somebody. Vernon Carey. That was our 99 class. So we
So
went and paired up with Santana Moss and Reggie Wayne that was already there. Dan Morgan. They were already there when we arrived. So it was just one of those situations that it was on and popping, man.
had you heard about Andre Johnson, like from high school and stuff before you signed?
Well, I heard about Andre because we went to Nike camp. So we went to Nike camp
Okay.
down at the University of Miami, going into my senior year. So like that August before or July before your senior year start. And it was probably 300, 400 guys. And they shut I remember they stopped the entire camp and they called 5 guys. Those 5 guys or 6 guys. Those 6 guys that they called out was Torrey Cox, Antonio Bryant that played for the Cowboys, Tampa Bay, from Pittsburgh. That played with Pitt. Antonio Bryant, Torrey Cox, Andre Johnson, Philip Buchanan, myself, and Kevin Beard were the 6 people that they chose. They made everybody else what? They just stopped everybody else and was like, y'all watch these 6 dudes. And it was just nonstop competition amongst us. And then all of a sudden, I didn't even know, like I knew who it was, but when I finally seen our incoming highlight recruit, I just committed to Miami because Santana and Reginald was there. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
once we finally got our incoming highlight, and I see Dre and I see Phil, I'm like, oh, that's some boys, like now I can put a name to a face, and we just linked up. Like we clicked up and it was on and popping.
So which year did y'all win the national championship?
We won in 2001. They cheated us in 2000. We went up to Seattle and played the Washington Huskies in 2000. We had the big head, and they beat us like week 3 of the season. It was our first time ranked again. We were ranked number 5, and we just kind of felt like they were gonna bow down to us. And they jumped out the gate. I think they jumped up 21-0 before, second quarter was over. And we stormed back. We came back. If we had 30 more seconds on the clock, we would have been victorious. But we lost, and that was the last time we lost. That was early 2000. We won out the rest of that season, and they allowed FSU which played UF the last game of the season to jump us by like a percentage point, like 0.1 percentage point. And they played in the national championship against Oklahoma. And, after that, it was kind of like on the doc, I've been watching the Bulls documentary, how they said everybody came back after the Pistons. Nobody went on vacation. Like 3 days after it was over, everybody was right back in the weight room. And I remember that same exact thing happened. After we won the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, it was like everybody rushed back to school to get back started. Like we knew we had came up short and we were determined to finish off what we started. And then Coach Davis ended up leaving and he went to Cleveland. So we had to work even harder because we all asked for Coach Coker to be our coach. And Coach Coker was like a player's coach. He really didn't have a disciplinarian bone in his body, but everybody loved Coach Coker. So it was like, we don't want no new coach. We want to keep our coaching staff, and we want Coach Coker to lead us. And I remember Reed, myself, Dorsey, Brian McKinney, Rumberg, a couple other guys went in to Paul D and was like, listen, we hear all that talk that y'all, looking at Barry Alvarez and all these people. We want Coach Coker. And it was like, we'll consider it. And we like, no, we want Coach Coker. They named Coach Coker head coach. And, it was like one of those, we just told Coach, bro, we got it. Don't even worry about us. Like,
Yeah.
He wasn't in the way. He drew up the game plan and gave us the direction and let us handle business. And everybody was always at the facility. Like, we played basketball, everything we competed in the entire time. Like, I don't think we left that facility or that campus again from January and winning the Sugar Bowl until after we had finally completed the journey and winning the Rose Bowl. So in 365 days, a year later, when we finally completed our journey, was probably the first time that we went on vacation like, all right, good, we done it.
Yeah, so, you talk about, the closeness that y'all had, and it's funny, you can always see when those, all those Miami Hurricane legends get together, y'all just kind of converge all together, y'all throwing up your U's, and, it seemed like y'all all kind of, close-knitted and kind of, family-like. I mean, that's how I met you. You came down here for Andre Johnson bowling tournament or something like that, I believe. Yeah, weekend. So that's cool to see all of y'all. So y'all what, juniors and seniors and the sophomores or whatever, and y'all running the whole city, huh? Y'all
Man,
like celebrities right now, right?
Man, at that time, it wasn't. Miami was probably bigger than the Dolphins and the Heat down there. I think Tim Hardaway might have had more juice than us, and Jason Taylor might have had more juice than us. Outside of that, it was Hurricane. Everything
Hurricane
was
City.
Hurricane. Now, Jason Taylor and Tim Hardaway, they had the city on lock. Garrett Payton, he wasn't even in Miami, but he was in Miami. So it was just a lot of appreciation, like. It was the appreciation. Miami was totally different at this time too. It was like prestigious, and we did everything group oriented. Like you got Santana, you got Dre, myself, Phillip, like Roscoe, and we showing up. Hey, it's us six. You know what I mean? Like we showing up deep, and then you already got Reed and Reggie, or Reed and Big Mac and Vernon. They already here, you know what I mean? So it was like, you're going to show up with your crew, but we all going to link up and make it do what it do.
So did you stay in school for all 4 years, or did you just stay 3?
Nah, man, I was in school 5 semesters.
So you was at Miami?
High school in 99. I graduated high school in 99. We won the championship in January 01. I was drafted right after that.
So talk to me about your draft night, man. How was that? Coming from Miami, coming from.
It was crazy because I felt like I should have been the 3rd pick in the draft. You know what I mean? I think.
What were you picked?
51st. I was the 51st pick.
Oh, okay.
After arguing and telling every GM, like, I understood you all were a new franchise, needed a quarterback. Y'all took David Carr. Would you rather have David Carr or Clint Portis? You know what I mean? Like, look how that worked out. Carolina took Julius Peppers. He was a hometown guy. Number 3, Detroit Lions took the quarterback from Oregon, who never panned out in the NFL. So you always see these mock drafts or these redos where you would have win and what should have been different. You could have listened to me from the beginning. I told you. Yeah.
Did anything happen before the draft for you to fall?
Man.
Some type of controversy or something?
Bro,
nothing.
No trouble. I've never gotten into trouble. You know what I mean? Like, even when people thought I was in trouble, when the truth come out, I was never in trouble. You know what I mean? So you go through. I ran a 4.27. You know what I mean? I ran a 4.27 pro day. went 50 for 50, didn't drop a ball. So every question that they possibly had, I answered. You know what I mean? And it was just one of those things where they passed over me, you know, and my coach went and took another running back. My coach, Rich Davis, went and drafted William Green from Boston College. And after you done saw the dog in me, after you bred the dog in me, and you go draft William Green, you know what I mean? So I think that just kind of shocked everybody and had people hesitant.
All right, so now you're in your rookie season, and you get drafted by the Broncos. Talk to me about your rookie season, man.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary.
So you ended up being the rookie of the year, right?
Yeah, I told them I was going to be rookie of the year. So I go out to Denver. It was actually the best thing to happen because you learn how to be a vet. You know, I saw guys, Shannon Sharp, Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey, Al Wilson, Terrell Davis, Brian Greasy, John Mobley. It was so many guys that were leaders on that team that kind of just took you under their wing and showed you how to be a professional. You know what I mean? And then the coaching staff was great. Coach Shanahan, Gary Kubiak, which was y'all head coach for a long time. Bobby Turner, you know what I mean? Like going to that coaching staff where it was a cool culture and it was a family-oriented team. You just felt like every team in the NFL was going to be that way. So my rookie year was legendary. You know what I mean? Getting that opportunity. Terrell go on to retire. I think the reins were finally handed over to me like week 4 of the season, where that's a late start for most people. You know what I mean? And I end up going for over 1,500, winning rookie of the year. And I mean, I just think it was one of those, like I said, legendary. You don't get those kind of performances. You know what I mean? Especially at those times where you got LaDainian Tomlinson, Priest Holmes, Charlie Garner, all in the AFC West, and they was putting up numbers. You know what I mean? People forget about Priest Holmes in that Kansas City Chiefs offense, where you had to go and score 45 or 50 against them.
I remember Priest Holmes. You know what I mean? I grew up in Antonio, where he was from, and so I watched him. I think he was at UT, and then he was at the Chiefs or whatever. But yeah, he was good. He was good when he was good. Yeah, I liked him. But you remember some of your best matchups, man? Some of the people who gave you maybe some of the hardest hits when you, especially your rookie year. You was like, man, y'all hit hard in the NFL.
Man, you know, it was just, you know who actually hit me hard? The person who I said y'all hit me hard was Mo Lewis. Matter of fact, Mo Lewis and Marvin Jones was linebacker for the Jets. You talking about a linebacking crew? That's a linebacker crew. They had a young John Abraham and Sean Ellis on the D-line. They had a defense, you know, like, bro, them people was coming downhill. And Marvin Jones caught me slipping. And I know he caught me slipping because the coach apologized for calling the play. It was like a 3rd and 8. And I picked up the 8 yards, but Marvin Jones hit me so hard that I fumbled. The ball went one way, my helmet went the other way. I came to the sideline. Coach Shanahan put his hand around me and was like, someone got to block that guy. You know what I mean? Like, somebody got to block that guy. And I'm thinking, like, I just fumbled, and he wasn't even mad. He was just like, somebody got to block him. And, you know, that was probably the lick. After that, you wasn't going to get no clean shot on me. So other than Marvin Jones catching me slipping, I was delivering the blow.
I understand. Talk to me about some of your biggest plays. You know, like some of your long touchdowns or your best games.
But you know, bro, you know what's crazy is the big number games weren't the games that I would say like was my best games. Like the games that was my exciting games were, you know, you playing the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Chicago Bears with those #1 ranked defense, the Minnesota Vikings, the New York Jets, those teams that had outstanding run defenses and didn't give up 100-yard rushers, and you go for 105 against them, you know, tough game. 17, 18 carries for 105, which, you know, to the eye, you're like, oh, that's a normal game. But then you realize this team haven't given up a 100-yard rusher in a year or two. You know what I mean? So those physical games, playing the Eagles, which was always physical, always tough. You got Dawkins and the rest of that defense, and they were coming downhill. So those were the games that always stood out to me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when Derek Brooks and Jackson, like them boys was hitting out there, you know, and you got to go out, Simeon Rice on the outside, and Quarles and Barbers, you know what I mean? Like those defenses that people don't talk about because they weren't the Baltimore Ravens, but they were really bad.
So how you doing nowadays, man? How'd your body?
Man, I think I got out in time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I have any wheelchair symptoms. You know what I mean? You got the bumps and bruises and the normal, but I never knew how it was to be a 38-year-old man in the first place. So I don't know if something going out from natural causes or my memory bad just because I'm getting older. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I can still play with the kids. I still get to shoot hoops. You know what I mean? Like, everything worked.
All right. So I saw one of the on YouTube. I saw one of the interviews you did with Tommy Harris. He's one of my old clients too, and Philip. And I think y'all might have talked about Philip Buchanan and everything. So I know when you were at Washington. Well, I mean, yeah, in Washington, you got a chance to play with some. Like, what was that like? You know, connecting with him like that.
You said connecting with who?
With Santana Moss.
Oh man, you know what's crazy? And people don't really know that. You know, just the whole bringing that team together, getting Sean and getting Santana. The Redskins were Kevin Winslow. They were Winslow had asked me about Kevin Winslow so many times to bring in an offensive weapon, and I'm like, bro, we need Sean Taylor, not Kevin Winslow. I understand you trying to help me, and I remember having a conversation with Coach Gibbs. I said, do you really want to help me on offense? And he said, yeah, we gotta be able to get more points on offense. And I said, if you want to help me on offense, draft Sean Taylor. Opportunity. And he was like, you really think the guy's going to be that good? And I'm like, bro, draft Sean Taylor. And nothing against Kellen Winslow. He was a dog. And it was just, I know what this is, you know, like draft Sean. And so all of a sudden we get Sean. And Lavernius Coles was on that team with us my first year. You know, LC was my guy. And LC always house. And after the season was over, 100, you know, he had 100 catches, but I think he had like 3 touchdowns. So he was like mad. And he come over to the man, I'm about to ask for my right here. I'm like, bro, you just had 100 catches. Nah, bro, like in the end zone here. I'm like, what? You know, there he is. And LC leaves. And probably 10 minutes later, say, man, I'm ready to. I'm like, what? Like, oh, like you tripping. And the next day I fly out and I fly down to Miami, and me and Santana linking up. You know, he was in New York with the Jets. And we ride, you know, we off in the place, and I could tell he wasn't his normal self. I'm like, bro, what's up? He like, man, I'm over this New York shit. Like, I'm like, what? He like, man, I'm over this New York shit. And I'm like, bro, you want to come to D.C.? And he was like, yeah, if you could make it happen. I'm like, call Coach Gibbs. Like, Coach, I know LC won't out. I got to tell him right here, you need to make this trade. And he was like, you really think Santana Moss want to come here? I'm like, here, ask him yourself. I put Santana on the phone. He like, yeah, I want to be there. The trade happened. They send LC back to New York, bring Tanner the team up with. It was.
And y'all having a good time. How did you end up in Washington from Denver?
Man, after my rookie season, which I went in the second round, 51st pick. After my rookie season, I had already outplayed my contract. I think I had like a 4-year, $2.5 million deal or something. So after my rookie year, I won Rookie of the Year. I've already outplayed my contract. So I go into Coach Shanahan like, hey, let's redo my contract. And Coach, the meeting was like 5 minutes long. Coach Shanahan said, Clint, I can redo your contract and give you $3 to $5 million right now. And next year, you're going to be in my office again, wanting more money. Why don't you just wait? You could be the first running back to get $20 million. I got up, shook his hand, and walked out. My second year, after I had put on another 1,500 and showed you all the head-to-head matchups, LaDainian, Priest, Charlie, and me, you see who came out victorious. I had the 5 touchdowns against the Chiefs. I put that on, crowned myself heavyweight champ of the world, and I think I was just too flamboyant and too big of him coming off the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So the Broncos kind of put out the trade bait to say no one is going to pay you $20 million, where I got the number from Coach Shanahan. Like, that wasn't a number I created. It was a number Coach Shanahan told me about. So the Broncos put out the trade bait and was like, trying to show me the value wasn't there for a running back. And it was only I felt like didn't pass over me in the draft, and that was the Redskins. They didn't have a first-round pick. They traded into the second round Ramsey. So every other team I felt like had an opportunity to draft me in the first round. And the Redskins didn't have a first-round pick. And I was like, one place I would go if I left Denver, and that was to D.C. And I told Drew. Drew talked to Coach Gibbs and Mr. Snyder and made it happen. And, even after everything happened, the Broncos were willing, you know what? You could stay here. Like, we don't want to trade if you want to leave, but we're willing to pay you. And I just said, you know what? Like, I want to leave. And that was that. Got traded for Champ Bailey, Hall of Fame, one of my favorite college players of all time at UGA. And I felt like I'm Clint Portis, and I got traded for Champ Bailey and the pick. Like, man, I know my shit don't stink. It's on and popping.
So how did you like it? How'd you like it up there in Washington? You went to, coming from Florida and Mississippi, you went to 2 cold cities. What was it like in Washington, starting all over?
Man, what's crazy? So going from Miami to Denver was like a culture shock. But Denver was so beautiful. I was just too young at the time to appreciate Denver. You know what I mean? Like, now you go on vacation to Colorado and you love it. But
see how beautiful it is.
Seat. You know what I mean? Like, I got front row seats in Denver. And Denver was awesome. The fan base was awesome. It was just one of those situations I wanted to come from under a shadow, and I felt like I was ready to carry an organization, which when I got to D.C., I had the opportunity. And it was a culture shock for me because I had only been in winning seasons. In high school, I won. College, I won. When I got to Denver, they were coming off a Super Bowl, so it was a winning organization. Then I get to D.C., and it's like you going to a JUCO compared to what the Broncos organization was compared to how the Redskins organization was being ran at the time. It was like JUCO, you know what I mean? Like, it was in Denver, you was a grown man. Hey, coach say, at 5 o'clock, you done, get out the building, be ready tomorrow. You know what I mean? And they didn't have to police you. It was just, here's the rules, abide by them. If anybody break it, here's the consequences. So you knew what was going to happen. When you got to DC, the structure wasn't really there. Coach Gibbs had just gotten back, and Dan had just bought the Redskins. So it was a lot that had to take place. Now, after that first season, Coach Gibbs got it right. You know what I mean? I think just coming from under Spurrier, it was like the Wild Wild West. And then all of a sudden, Coach Gibbs got structure and got things back organized, and we were starting. And then you had the tragedy with Sean, and Coach Gibbs ended up retiring, which set the organization back again because Coach Gibbs retired, and now you hand the chains over to someone that's not ready. So it was, it was just that transition that was difficult.
Which team that you played on all those years do you think was your best team?
Man, our 05 Redskins.
05 Redskins?
What? The 05 Redskins had a chance. We ended up losing at Seattle in the playoffs. But it was just a hard-nosed, like, it was that team that was determined to run through a brick wall for each other, because you came off the 04 season, which you had to weed people out and get structure. And then in 05, everybody bought in, and we went on a run together. And you just had the entire city behind you. You know what I mean? You got Santana, you got Sean T, myself, LeVar, Chris Samuel. Was like everybody was buying into their role and doing their thing. And then after 05, which you should have kept everything as it was, you ended up losing Ryan Clark. You bring in Adam Archuleta. You end up losing your offensive coordinator. You bring in another offensive coordinator. You just start changing everything, and it was a setback. You know what I mean? Like, everybody, you get a new offensive coordinator, and the scheme was just like, what the hell? Like, you done got used to running through a brick wall, and now you running around the brick wall. You know what I mean? You got players that want to run through the brick wall, and now you trying to teach us how to run around the brick wall. So it was just a different mentality. But that 05 team, I really think, had a chance, because the team that actually won the Super Bowl that year, which was Pittsburgh, I think we played Pittsburgh, we played Seattle, we played Chicago, and we beat those teams in D.C. that year. The teams that
in the regular season,
like the run in the playoffs, we had already beat during the season.
Okay. I get it. So talk to me about some of your, as you coming in the NFL as a young running back, who were some of your mentors, people that you looked up to back then?
Man, you know what's crazy is Fred Taylor was one of my favorite backs.
I used to like Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor was tough, and I mean, y'all was in the AFC East with him. Fred Taylor was a dog. LaDainian was a dog. Priest, Edgerrin, Corey Dillon at that time was a dog. So those were the backs, Marshall Faulk, that you stole from. Like, I can watch Marshall and see Marshall do something. I can watch EJ drop his shoulder or use his stiff arm. I can watch LT with the patience. Like, so you stole from all of those guys. You know what I mean? And it was just one of those situations. You're constantly looking for, let me see how Fred T played these. You know, everybody want to go, oh, look at this guy, look at this guy. No, I want to see if Fred Taylor played this team that we get ready to play, let me see how he played him. Or if Edge played him, let me see how he played him. Or if LaDainian, what people fail to realize is LaDainian was in the same offense forever. And when you get an opportunity to master an offense like that, yeah, he was straight power, straight downhill. And when you get an opportunity to master an offense, that's like me staying in Denver for 5 or 6 years. You know what I'm saying? If I would have been in Denver offense for 5 years, I don't know what the record books will look like. And that's just real talk. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But LaDainian being in San Diego and mastering that offense, where you got Lorenzo Neal in front of you. Don't nobody want to run up
He's a
to
big
Lorenzo
fullback.
Neal. You know what I mean? Like, don't nobody want that. And LaDainian and Lorenzo Neal paired together for 5 consecutive years where they know each other inside and out. I know what you want me to do. I know where you want me to go. That's something that me and Mike Sellers was forming. And then they moving the H back or you shifting them out. You see what I'm saying? Like if we could have been in the same offense to get on the same page, could have been as dangerous. So, you know, just having the opportunity to see some of those guys and how they played, and then you steal from them. You know what I mean? You steal a little bit of this, or you pick up the phone and call, like, damn, bro, I seen that still form. Like, what made you shoot that? You know what I mean? So it was just one of those situations.
That's cool. And so I remember, man, you used to come to your press conferences, man, with these costumes and stuff, man. What was that about? How did it get started?
Man, you know, that came about in 05. We were 3-6, and we had just lost to the San Diego Chargers at home, and everybody had written us off. Like we were out of the playoff contention and supposedly done with. And all of a sudden, playing around, trying to keep the morales high and joking with the guys, it kind of caught on. And the cameras caught it, and we won the game. And then, you know, I had another outfit, so I did it playing around again the second time, and we won the game. And then I was out of outfits, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with it. And now it's called, like, it's gone viral at a time that you didn't have viral. So it kind of caught on, and the organization, like, who you going to be today? I'm like, nobody. I don't have an outfit. And we go out to walk through and come back in, and it looked like a dressing room. They had went and bought so much shit for me to put it together. And then my teammates.
Oh, okay. So you had a lot of help.
Yeah, no, my teammates started, hey, my wife sent this, or my son said do this, or my child wants you to wear this. So my teammates started bringing stuff. The organization was buying stuff, and it just kind of took off, and we kept winning. And then, you know what's crazy is I got a letter, and that's what I told people. The only reason, because I was overdoing it. You know, after the second or third week, it was like not genuine anymore. And I never checked my fan mail. And I checked my fan mail, and I had actually gotten a letter from a family that was saying thank you. And they were like, we come in the house, and our grandmother, who we thought was on her way out, you know, getting ready to pass, who don't talk, who hadn't been saying anything, just sitting in one spot, was like laying on the floor laughing. And they like, what's wrong with you? And she was laughing from my press conference. And they were saying how much joy it brought to them as a family to see her spirit.
Oh, that's cool.
And, you know, basically saying thank you. So it was that letter that actually got me to continue, because you didn't know who you were affecting. You know what I mean? And like I said, the entire DC came together in 05. And then the Wizards was on fire, and we was on fire. You know what I mean? Like, it was a beautiful sight to be in DC at that time.
Yeah, I think that might have been around the year or so that I came up there, because my ex-wife was from DC, and we were up there for Thanksgiving, and you left me some tickets for one of the games, and I enjoyed it. I sat there. I didn't know I was sitting next to your mom and your family and stuff, but I sat there, and she real rah-rah, you know what I mean? And but everybody, I knew you, and I didn't know, who they were, but they were. Section was nice and everything, and stadium was too. I had never been in an outdoor stadium like that. Can you hear me? You still there? Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's your family doing though? How's your family doing?
Everybody cool, man. Everybody healthy. Dealing with the same thing. Starting to get that itch. wanting to go outside
Yeah.
and play, and you can't. But everybody cool.
Yeah. So what you been doing this coronavirus stuff, man?
Man, perfecting. I think I'm a chef. I think I'm a gardener. I got a car wash in the I got a car wash in the yard. I'm trying to turn into an athletics trainer because the kids in the neighborhood, they just won't let me sit still. So, we'll abide by all the rules, but we got our little crew that, we'll have come over, and the kids gonna run around and play. So it's kind of one of the overseers. You all the stuff
So
that you missed
so
doing, through this time, the stuff that you took for granted, sitting down, having dinner with your family, watching movies, playing board games, or learning who the kids are turning into. You get an opportunity to do
that's cool. Yeah, that's one of the things I do like about this time is being able to be around my kids and having that family time. I'm cooking a lot, like you say, but I was cooking a lot before that. A lot of people know me for cutting hair, but they know me for a lot, for cooking too. As a matter of fact, I got something on the pit out there now. But so there go you. When you retired, how did you know it was time to retire?
it. Man, the politics kicked in,
Mm-hmm.
and once you peep the politics, and for so long I felt like I was the savior for an organization where I'm giving my all, trying to help this organization flip the switch and get back to winning ways. And then all of a sudden you
Mm-hmm.
get leadership that's not a good leader, that's, against you. You go from being the
Mm-hmm.
answer to the problem. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just because
Mm-hmm.
a change in voice that felt
Mm-hmm.
threatened for no reason. Because again, I've never gotten into trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a power struggle, and you realize the politics. Like, I realized you're willing to sacrifice all of this to teach me a lesson or to change who I am. And I just, man, you know what? I'm over this shit. Like, I can't, this not for me anymore, because it wasn't the love. Like, when you're all in, again, you're running through the brick wall for someone, and then they try to teach you how to run around the wall, and now you got somebody that's trying to take all of that from you. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, I'm confused. I don't know what you're asking of me. I don't know who you want me to be, but I'm not that person. So I'm gonna step away. So it was one of those situations.
Yeah, so I told you, I did like look up some of your highlights and stuff, today and yesterday, and on YouTube, and it was a joy to watch you run that ball like that, man. But I did come across a couple things like where you and LeVar Arrington got into it. What was that about? I never did. He was responding to something that you said, and I never knew what you
We
said.
didn't really get into it, man. LA, LeVar like a big brother. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
at the time, it was just a situation that happened amongst us that I felt like should have been handled differently. So I voiced my opinion about it, and as a big brother, he felt like, hey, you could have said this to me, which I could have said it
Mm-hmm.
to you. So it was an issue me and LeVar we handled as men after we did it the wrong way. You know what I mean?
After
So
you did, yeah, you learned from it.
of course, yeah, you put a microphone in my face while I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm not a person to hide the truth. So I told the truth about the
Yeah,
situation.
I know. I noticed that about you, man. I didn't necessarily remember that, but yeah, you never been shy about, you've been very opinionated, and you can't shut Clinton Portis up. And so I ran into the argument with you and Brian Mitchell, and I didn't really know what started that. What was that
The
about?
same thing, and for B. Mitch, who I look to, like, now that I'm in broadcasting and B. Mitch has been doing this thing for so long, me and B. Mitch together all the time. You see what I'm saying? Like, I go to
Mm-hmm.
B. Mitch for advice now. But at that time, B. Mitch never took the time to get to know me, which I didn't know as a player, you don't realize these people are tasked with an opinion daily, and they got to give the man something. So although my thing was, I felt like B. Mitch was getting information out of our room, some shit leaking out of our running back room, and I kind of know who telling him this, but instead of him ever talking to me as a man, you carrying this over. Which it wasn't I just had a problem with B. Mitch, I had a problem with the person who was telling B. Mitch this shit too. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So although I get an opportunity to address him, he indirectly giving B. Mitch the inside, you know what I mean? Which was wrong. You see what I'm saying? So I just felt like me, B. Mitch, and Coach Thompson, the legendary John Thompson, had a show together. And I'm on every morning with you. But I hear you hating on me. You see what I'm saying? And it's just kind of, bro, I can't sit and do no show with you when I just heard what you said about me. So I'm looking for the smoke. Like you got an issue with me, you know what I mean? Like I keep ignoring this, and it took us same way, same thing, same way me and LeVar had to handle it. And it's the conversation that if you're having it in public, you can never grow. You see what I'm saying? But as men, once you get to sit down and you get your stiff drink or you have your cigar together, hey, this is what was going on. Now it's clear, and we on the same page.
All right, man. The last couple questions, man. So, what kind of who you got in the who you listening to these days as far as music?
Man, you know what's crazy? And you down in H-Town. Lately, I've been rap a lot. Dog, I watched this interview that Jay Prince did, which made me end up listening to the old Ghetto Boys, and then I started listening to Zero, and then I thought about ESG, and now I'm listening to UGK. I'm like, bro, you know, all this music that you forget about because the times change. So you,
especially,
I'm talking
that
about
music was
when we was coming to H-Town in 2002 to 2006, like I'm going back to those songs.
It was hot.
So when the beat kick in, you like, oh my God.
It was hot. Yeah.
You know, whatever it was. Yeah.
It take you right back to that place. I had Bun on about 2 weeks ago, and we were just kind of telling me some stories about some of the songs that he was doing. In particular, one with Deep Down South with MJG. With 8Ball, actually. 8Ball and Bun. I'm gonna send that one to you because that's one of my favorite all-time verses from Bun. And they live down the street from each other, and they both, you know, we was in college. Everybody want to know, you know, who the baddest, Bun or 8Ball and this and that. And you know, in the streets, it was always a competition, you know, between those two, who was better. And Bun felt like he had to get on this track and do his thing with 8Ball, and that's what came out of it. So I'm gonna send that to you, let you listen to it right quick.
Listen, man, I grew up off of that Suave House era. I grew up off of that music. So that 8Ball something tough. 8Ball don't get the credit he deserved for all that early 8Ball and MJG. But look, this is a true story. You tell Bun the next time you get it. So I fly out to Houston. Bun.
All right, yeah, sorry about that. We ran out of time. We here having a good conversation. But go ahead, but tell me about it. Bun, cool.
So Bun,
yeah, and I told him, I say, man, you know, because he like the mayor of the city, man.
Listen, Bun scooped me. So me and Bun ride. We're coming down the highway, and I guess he get the call that T.I. just touched down in the city. So now T.I. in the city, and at the time I didn't know what was going on, but it's when T.I. and Flip end up getting into it. So I guess T.I. done got to the city, and he done ran up on Flip, but I'm in the truck with Bun, and he like, you know, he finna take me and drop me off wherever. But at the same time, they calling him to resolve this conflict. He don't want me to be involved, so he trying to, you know, and we stuck in no man's land coming from the airport. Which airport for? A Hobby?
Yeah, we got Hobby.
I'm saying that's the one that's far out, outside of Houston.
No, the one that's far out, that's gonna be Intercontinental.
So that's where I flew in the Intercontinental. So he trying to get me to the city and get back to T.I. and Flip, trying to diffuse that situation. So we stuck, like, he don't want me to, you know, he ain't trying to include me in this. And I'm like, I'm going first, smoke. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Take me, I'm here.
Yeah, like, shit, I'm willing to ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he ended up dropping me off. I think I was staying at Hotel Derrick or something at the time. But Bond a good dude, man. I mess with Bond.
Hotel Derrick?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hell, I cut a lot of people over there, too. Well, man, I ain't gonna hold you after that, man. I appreciate you coming on. What's next for Clinton Portis, man? What you doing in retirement now?
Man, we got big things popping, man. So it's just kind of under the radar, letting it all, you know, you watch everybody and you get these roller coaster rides through life and everything else. So the time and everything gonna match up. You know, I'm still 38. I'm doing broadcasting right now. So hopefully one of these shows are gonna call and stop playing with me. ESPN, NFL Network, whoever, you know, they always want me to come on and guest, but I'm on this bag over here. But I'm me. I got a podcast, 26 minutes, so y'all check that out. Some dope, real talk. Just living, man. Being a father, chasing the kids around, enjoying life.
How old are your kids?
Man, teenagers down there, 6th graders. And then, you know, you get the whole community. You get, like, community. You have so many kids around. So try to teach all of them, try to encourage all of them, get them all heading in the right direction. You know what I mean? So being on that track circuit or the basketball AAU circuit, all of this, you take away your free time. So I can't come to Houston no more. I can't come hang out unless one of the kids got something going on there. But it's cool, man. You know, I get you to slow down, and it's a precious time in life where you actually get to enjoy it. You know, you look forward to it. So I did enough in these streets that cool now.
Well, man, I appreciate you again, man. I'm gonna let you get back to your family, and we'll stay up, man. We're gonna be looking for you and see what you got going on coming up. And hopefully you get one of those broadcasting jobs. And I've seen you before, and I saw you, and I was proud of it. I was like, oh, look at CP doing a good job up there. So he sounds like he know what he's talking about. He look like he know what he's talking about, you know. But yeah, good luck with that though. Well, I can't wait till the NFL get back going. Well, holler at me if you're in Houston, man.
Already, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah, one time for that real, yeah. Tribe on the move. Yeah. Another tragedy and we just seem so numb. I need a peace, humanity.